I became aware of them because I'm really, really hypersensitive to them now. So when someone's talking to me, it's almost like a lie detector. It's almost like you can look at them, and as soon as they start talking, like, oh, this person's lying, especially for somebody you know, because now you're aware of their micro expressions. You don't say anything to them, but you make note of them. You can tell when somebody really likes it. I'm glad you're here. And you don't see that. No, I'm not. You don't see that. You don't see the micro expression. You don't see it. But the thing is, it's good to know in a way how people really feel, because you want to know if somebody really doesn't like you, right? You want to know if people are actually happy that you are the place that you are. Because sometimes you know they don't like you. You just know. Now, friends of mine, this is a long time ago. We go into this is before I knew what micro expressions were. But this had nothing to do with micro expressions. But I'll tell you the story. We go to a bar, and if you notice big businesses, maybe a supermarket or places like that, every business that serves the public usually has a universe of people that go to that place. If you could track people, if you tracked everybody that went into a supermarket, you'd find out probably 90% of the people that go to that supermarket are regulars at the supermarket. They come at varying times, but they're regulars. There is a universe of people for every physical business. That's just the way it is. And maybe 10% people are just happy. Hey, there's a Best Buy. I better go in there and get those cables. But for the most part, it's the same people going there. That's just the way it is. I worked in comedy clubs back in the day, and I would see the same people. It would be the same few thousand people coming into the club. No problem. But local bars are different. Because if you have a local bar or a local diner, when they have a universe of people that come there, if they have enough locals that come to the place that it makes a living for them, they don't really need or care about people that aren't the locals coming there. They don't need you. And thus they don't have to sit there going, hey, we got to do some stuff to increase business. They don't have to increase business. Business is doing just fine with the people that are already coming. I need you to know that so you'd understand what's going on with the story. So my friends and I go to a bar. We're just going through town. We're comedians. We're traveling. We see a place. We're going to go get something to eat and drink, and then go back to the hotel and, our individual rooms and go to sleep, We go into the bar. And you could go in there and something was a little off. You didn't get the feeling that a fight was about to break out, but you knew something was a little off walking into that place. Something was going down. Now, current me would immediately be able to know and detect that we were not wanted there and be able to read the room immediately. But that's what being a middle-aged man who's done a lot of stuff can do. But the guy, as young as I was at the time, could not tell it. We just walked in and thought, hey, why did it get kind of 75% quiet when we walked in here? Well, maybe, I don't know. Doop-de-doop, I'm stupid, right? We go up to the bar and the bartender's looking at us. Like, hey, how can I help you? Yeah, what do you want? We like some whoop-de-whoop and floop-de-floops in a large joop-de-joop. And the guy's like, yeah, okay. Now, keep in mind, this is somebody trying to sell us food and drinks. We ask for food and drinks, and how does he respond to us? Like, what are you, Clint Eastwood? Come on now, right? So he gives us the food, and he's probably thinking we're going to sit at the bar. But no, we want to sit at the table. And he turns around and he looks back at us, and he sees us walking towards the table, and he has a look of horror on his face. Right? And I didn't notice it at the time. When I think about it in my memory, I can remember it. We sat down at a table. Oh, that was not good. Why? Because this is a local bar, and everybody kind of falls into a pattern at a local bar. If you've ever been to local bars or had a local bars, you know that after a while, people kind of sit in the same places. If you go to the gym, you probably get on the same stair machine. You probably use the same weight rack. We're human beings. We're creatures of habit. And this table is the habit of somebody who's always here, who just coincidentally is running a little late. And everybody else who's sitting at their tables they've pretty much, commandeered for themselves, looks over at the table, and the 3 dudes or the 4 dudes or whatever number of dudes that are normally sitting at that table are not sitting at that table. Who's sitting at the table? These punks who don't even belong here. Ooh. And I'm starting to notice that people are kind of looking at us, but I don't get the feeling we're going to be attacked, so we stayed. But I could tell, right? The waitress comes towards the table. She's not even looking at us. And then she turns and she notices these aren't the people that normally sit here. Hey, what's going on, guys? Can I get you anything? I'm like, what is she, Clint Eastwood now? What the heck's going on? That's right. Attitude problem all the way around. What's going on with these people? What the heck is going on, dag nabbits? And I could tell nobody liked us. Why? Because now when the guys that come in that are supposed to be at that table see us, they look at us and you see them motioning to each other like, what is this? Who's this people? Why are these people at our table? And you can see people at tables around looking at it like, hey man, we don't know. I don't know why they're sitting there. I don't know. They're having these little silent face and hand gesture conversations motioning towards us. And now those dudes have to go to another table. They didn't leave. They're not going to leave. This is where they hang out. So they go to another table. Unfortunately, they displace the people that are normally sitting at that table. Ooh. And it happens for the next 15 minutes. People are coming in and they're forced to sit at tables that they normally aren't forced to sit at. It's throwing everybody off. If you remember with the toy, the Rubik's Cube, it was a cube with was and basically it had all these colors on it. You have to twist the cube to try to make sure all the colors were uniform on the side. And if you weren't good at it, like most people weren't, there was always a couple of, the best you could do was kind of get some of them, and then some of them were a little bit off, and you thought you were close. Two more twists, and this Rubik's Cube is solved. Twist, and I just made it worse. Well, it was like that. So now you're hearing this annoyed rumble. People around us are all sitting at the wrong tables, and each one of them is mad, and they finally figure out, wait a minute, we're all sitting at the wrong tables, but I know all these other people. There's got to be a reason we're sitting at the wrong table. Wait a second. Those guys are sitting at a table that they're not. That's what happened. So now we got a whole bunch of tables mad at us. And we know they don't like us. We didn't do anything. We just innocently came into a bar, and we know they don't like us. We finally finish up what we're going to do, eating our grub and getting our drinks. We tipped the waitress, gave her a good tip. Didn't matter. Still didn't like us. We walk out, and then you could hear people, hey, look at these guys. Who are these guys? They don't come back. They're sitting at Bill and John's table. What the hell's wrong with these guys? We're like, good Lord, we just wanted to get a couple of pieces of food and drink. What's going on? Why are they so hostile? And they didn't like us. We didn't even do anything. Same thing happens at a diner. We go to a diner, and this is the same thing. We're sitting at somebody's table, and everybody hated us. But it even goes into your personal relationships where you know somebody just doesn't like you. You meet your girlfriend's relatives or your girlfriend's friends. I remember meeting my girlfriend's friend. Right? And the girlfriend I had at the time wouldn't talk about the 95% that I was the perfect boyfriend to her. When I was doing everything right, she didn't mention me at all to her friends, except just in passing. Yeah, I'm going to go be spending my time with Floop-de-Floop, meaning me, right? But the 5% of the time, maybe I messed up. Maybe we had an argument. Oh, she couldn't wait to tell them that crap. So what happens? What is the impression of her friend that I don't get to see that much because she lives in a different part of town and she goes to meet her friend and hang out? She hasn't met me. She hasn't been charmed by me. She hasn't spent time with me. So by the time I do meet her, it's 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10 months into the relationship, and every single time I was mentioned, it was part of the 5% of the time where every human being messes up and isn't perfect or does something dopey that's all she heard. So I finally run into her. Now keep in mind, the girl I was seeing at the time was saying nothing but glowing things about this person. So I'm thinking this person's going to be the greatest thing in the world. I mean, this is going to be great. So I come and I'm ready to meet this wonderful person. She walks in, I say hi, and she goes, hi. I'm like, what is she? Does she work at that bar from me? She Clint Eastwood too? What the heck's going on here? We're sitting at the diner. And at the time, I really cared about what people thought. At the time, I felt I had to win people over. Obviously, I don't care about that anymore. I'm just going to be who I am. But at the time, young me felt the need to try to win this girl over, this woman over, this lady over. I was trying to win her over. And the more I turned on the charm, the madder she got. Why? Because the girl I was seeing had said negative things about me. So now she's thinking, not only is he negative, but he's a huge phony. He stink. Then the girl I'm sitting there with both of them because I figured she wanted me to meet her friend. I'm like, And the girl I was seeing, the lady I was seeing, the woman I was seeing goes to the bathroom and leaves me with a friend. Right? And she